Call to order the regular meeting. The regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, August 6, 2026, advertised to begin at the conclusion of the work session meeting, which has now just ended. This meeting has been advertised pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of meeting for publication, the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 2nd, 2026. Notice of the meeting of the governing body has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Condos? Here. Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Councilmember Toth?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Pearson?
Here.
Thank you.
Let us all now rise together for a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is a request for approval of the minutes of July 16th, 2026, a work session, July 16th, 2026, a regular meeting. Have a motion?
Make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Condos.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Toth. Roll call.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Toth?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is final reading and adoption ordinance 22631, amending section 200-63 of the Code of the Borough of Seaside Park, entitled Zone Map, Chapter 200, entitled Development Regulations. And this came about as a result of the necessity of the town, in fact, to have a zone map, and also this is in conjunction with ongoing review and re-examination of the master plan as present through the planning board. And this had referenced the prior action of adoption of the zoning in what had been known as South Seaside Park. We had a number of well-founded issues raised in the public at the first reading of this ordinance, which had been taken into account by the planning board as well. And as indicated, there is ongoing review of the master plan, and with a special focus as those areas, and apparently the areas were not modified and not changed as a result of a very exhaustive study that had happened in what was then known as South Seaside Park, whereby a grant had been obtained, and engineering firm had solicited input from the public and came up with a very specific set of recommendations, and that, I believe, is a 200-page plus document. Everyone's had that, and for whatever reason, Berkeley Township did not adopt those regulations, but they are currently being considered, as with other recommendations, but by the planning board. Anyone else have any council input on the zone map ordinance 22631? Hearing none, we'll go into the audience if there are any public comments on second reading of an adoption 22631. Hearing none, I would close the public portion and I'd entertain a motion from council.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk.
I'll second it, Mayor.
Second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Toth,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next is final reading and adoption. It's bond ordinance 22632, amending ordinance number 22610 of the borough, finally adopted March 19th, 2026, providing for improvements to parking lots 1, 2, and 3, and appropriating $3,350,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,350,000 in bonds or notes of the Borough of Seaside Park to finance the cost thereof. And any questions, comments, input from council? This is in accordance with the prior discussions, not just at the first reading, but over the year as to the necessity to move ahead with the parking lots and the bonding related thereto.
Yes, it's just that there was an initial bond ordinance, 2026-10, and it was amended back in March to increase the amount to what we see now, which is $3,350,000. Again, for the parking lots 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, Bill. Anything else from council on second reading? Hearing none, I'll go into the ordinance. Final reading and adoption bond ordinance 22632. If anyone has any comments, if they could give their name and address into the record. Seeing none, I would close the public portion and I'd entertain a motion from council for second reading. And adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Rotunda,
Second?
second by Councilmember Toth. Roll call.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Toth,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next is authorization to release the performance bond for reconstruction of Boardwalk Phase 1, 226-296. It's authorizing the release of the performance bond and acceptance of the maintenance bond for the reconstruction of Boardwalk Phase 1, Island Avenue to Fifth Avenue. Any comments from council?
No.
I have none.
Yeah.
No.
And if not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
I'll second, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Toth,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next are payment of claims, 226-297, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the check registry bill list for the time period July 17, 2026 to August 6, 2026. Any questions, comments from council, or if not, any motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second.
second by Councilmember Toth. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Toth,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next are the resolutions. I'll read in summary fashion. 226-298. It's a resolution in support of the proposed increase the ballot question of funding for the Natural Lands Trust Fund program. 299, authorizing the purchase of Scott bottles from New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance CK04. Number 300, appointing a seasonal laborer for the Department of Public Works. 301, appointing Class 2 special law enforcement officers for the Borough of Seaside Park. 302, approving the alcohol beverage control social affair permit for Seaside Park Yacht Club Incorporated. 303, for renewal of membership in the Ocean County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. 304, authorizing the sale of surplus property no longer needed for public use on an online auction website. 305, authorizing an adjustment for the designated water sewer utility accounts. 306, authorizing Remington Vernick Engineers to provide professional engineering services for the rehabilitation of well number 6. 307, authorizing change order number 2 to the contract with Earl Asphalt Company for improvements to the South Bayview Avenue projects phases 1 and 2. 308, appointing a seasonal employee for the Department of Beach Patrol. 309, awarding a contract to JVS Industrial and Commercial for the 14th Avenue Stormwater Pump Station project. 310, awarding a non-fair and open contract for information technology services. 311, accepting the resignation of Charles Robert Malloy. 312, adopting an amendment to the beach management plan for the protection of federal state listed species. 313, approving the alcohol beverage control social affair permit for Ocean County St. Patrick's Day Committee, Inc. 314, authorizing Wilmington Burnick engineers to provide professional engineering services for grant administration services for the reconstruction of the J Street Marina. 315, awarding a non-fair and open contract for conflict public defender services. Any comments from council as to any resolutions?
I have a few
Yes.
comments there. The resolution 299 for the Scott bottles, that's for $20,000, $394, and that's for a quantity of 10. Let's see, what else? The change order 2, 307 change order 2, there were some numbers in there, and I did a little subtraction, but overall, with respect to the original bid and the 2 change orders, it's an overall increase from the original bid of $68,466.47. The 309, that's for the 14th Avenue stormwater pump station, and this is the first of others as the Bayview Avenue project moves along, and that amount is $1,053,625. And the 310, and that's for the information technology services, and that's to Coastal Solutions, and that's for $51,500. And I guess that's it.
Thank you, Bill. Anything else from council on any resolution? Hearing none, it's our practice to allow any public comments on resolutions, though it's not required by law. We do allow same. And as such, I'll go into the audience if there are any comments on any of the resolutions. If you could give your name and address into the record. Don?
Hi, Don Whiteman, 2000 Barnegat Avenue. On this Ocean County Land Trust, how much, I mean, it's in Seaside Park beside Roberts Avenue, how much has the county saved in the way of land for Seaside Park? In other words, we're paying money for a land trust, and I'd like to know, I know Roberts Avenue is part of the land trust, but before that happened, at Seaside Park, did the county ever come in and purchase land for you guys?
It's not really purchasing, it's acquiring
Right.
vacant land.
Have they done it?
And the answer is no. Seaside Park was, up until the time of the annexation, we were on the highest priority list in order to be awarded a
Good.
tract of land. We're now on the list with having acquired one already, which is the Roberts Avenue site.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is no. We have not. We have no other properties, and we're fully developed community. I understand there was an opportunity once in the recent past, but it was not taken. But that occurred right after Sandy, so I don't know the details. But
My concern is here, Seaside Park, Seaside Heights, Lavalette, we're on the beach, but it seems like every time this trust goes and gets the money, it goes to stuff on the mainland. You know, I think it's about time that the Ocean County Trust starts investing in our area and looks for land. And I'm just saying this, that's my own personal feeling, that we're putting all this money out, but we're not getting anything. And I would like to see us maybe get together with Seaside Park or Seaside Heights and Lavalette and say, all right, we have the three towns here, how much has the trust bought, or should I say, acquired property in those three towns? And if they haven't, let's start doing it. That's, my comment about the trust. I know they want to raise it up, but how, are we going to benefit from it? You just told me that we were priority, but now we may not be priority. Thank you.
I think I'll give you a little more of an answer, maybe direct purchases. I'd say it's unlikely, but not impossible that Seaside Park might be awarded something, if that's the right word. It would entail, it can't have a structure on it, so we all know the value of one buildable lot for a home, so
Right.
it's a lot of money. Not impossible. The other answer is, and I can relate, and some thought I was somewhat of a nut back in my early career, and I would go to planning boards of Lacey Township, Jackson Township, and complain in general terms, why are you bulkheading? Why are you building these extraordinarily overdeveloped, massive projects, all of which drain directly into Barnegat Bay? Barnegat Bay and the ocean are our lifeblood. They're our quality of life, our property values, they're why we're here. So indirectly, when and I happen to know one with 339 approved units in Jackson was just purchased 2 months ago by the county, it's now going to be vacant. All the tributaries of the Toms River are draining into Barnegat Bay, into the river, then into the bay, and we get the effects of it, positive or negative. So, yes, you're correct. Has a property been purchased here in Seaside Park? One, the Roberts Avenue site. Are we getting a benefit? You could say we probably are. I mean, the quality of the environment here in the bay, in particular in the ocean. So I hear you and you're correct, but when you go to some of these towns and they don't think about why they're bulkheading another massive development and taking away the natural sedges, the reeds, the runoff where the bay should be going, and we're getting flooding. So, yeah, they should stop or use smart development. Not stop totally, it's probably unrealistic, but some of the things, in fact, the massive projects that were proposed in Jackson, and some have gone up, we really are benefiting.
A little different here. I did contact the land trust, Roberts Ave, and I did request them to put a osprey nest somewhere on that area. I think it would be something really nice, and maybe if you guys, the council here, thinks something like that would be worthwhile. I think it would be. I look at the one that you have up on, what's it called there, up by your North Water Tower on the bay. They have osprey in there now, but I think the Roberts Ave would be ideal for an osprey nest. Thank you.
That would be nice. Thank you, Don. Any other comments on resolutions? Shirley? Excuse me.
Shirley Presses, 700 North Bayview Avenue. Just a quick question on 299. What is it that we buy for the fire company, and what do they purchase with the money that they raise? Like we're buying them the Scott bottles. What is the town's obligation to buy? What do we buy for them as opposed to them using the money that they raise? Like, what do they raise their money for, and what's our obligation to buy?
Anyone want to tackle the budget? I mean, it's a...
Well, this was budgeted a while ago.
Yeah.
They're given about, $166,000 in this money for the Scott bottles. Wait, this comes out of capital, right?
Yeah.
This is for capital.
Okay, so we buy equipment, and then the money they raise, they buy stuff.
They bought equipment. The one beach truck that they use, I believe they purchased the old historical truck they got for nothing, but they're raising money to try and restore that so they can use it at townwide events and stuff like that. They use their money in constructive purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure what we
They
had.
don't just buy beer for the firehouse, believe me.
No, they have good dinners. Thank you.
Any other comments on resolutions? Hearing none, I would close the public portion and entertain a motion as a consent agenda for the resolutions.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
I'll second it, Mayor.
second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Toth,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And that concludes the resolution agenda and the written agenda. Anyone else on council have other items at this time?
I have a couple items.
Yes.
Mayor. I received my tax bill like probably some of you guys have as well. I know not everybody has. But I did, I was curious, I did a comparison of 2025 to 2026 because I was noticing the county taxes. And anyway, I looked at it and the county taxes went up in the range of 10.5% to 12.47%. For the various things, the county tax, the library, the health, open space. Our local school tax was 10%. Regional school tax, we got a real good break because that went down 15%. And our local municipal tax went up 3.7%. So the overall total tax was 1.44%, or a total of 0.25 cents. So that's it about the taxes. On the marina, we did notice that at the marina, John noticed that there was some problems on the south bulkhead. There were some bolts that apparently came loose, or the hardware was missing, but it's sticking out a little bit out of the bulkhead and into the waterway. So our administrator, Karen, contacted Kramer, and they're going to be coming out very quickly to look at that and to work out a mitigation plan. Also on the marina, we held a committee meeting this past Monday to work out some more of the final design details. And it was decided at this point that we'll be breaking up the construction project into over 3 phases over 3 years. Right now, the plans are 75% complete. One of the things that we're backing off on is the lighting plan. We're going to revise it to reduce it, mainly on the north side of where the homes are. And at this point, all permits have been submitted, and that includes the NJDEP, United States Soil Conservation District, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So, I guess that's all I got.
Thank you, Bill. Anything else? Yes, John?
Yeah, I have the one thing. The lifeguard tournament, which was supposed to happen this past Monday, is now happening this coming Monday at 5:30 at O Street, where it's always been held there. So there's 10 beaches participating, which there usually is. If you've never seen it, it's a hoot to go out and take a look at it and watch them compete. It really is. You can get out on the beach, you can be right there and be involved in events. Not involved, you can view the events right in front of you. If you want to get involved, at least there's somebody to pull you out. But anyway, it's really cool to watch them all compete. And there's 10 beaches, us and 9 others from up and down the coast. And this year, it's a special one because it's named, it's now called, not the lifeguard tournament anymore, it's now called the Captain Mike Invitational Tournament, named after Captain Mike, as we all affectionately knew him, who was a fantastic captain on the beach patrol. And not only was he a fantastic captain, he was a great guy. So unfortunately, he lost his battle with cancer a couple years ago. And now the tournament is named after him in his honor. So if you have some free time, stop by, check it out. You're going to enjoy what you see and have some fun at it too. Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Anything else from council?
Mayor, just a quick recreation update. We had a very successful Boots on the Bay festival a few weeks ago, despite it being, the rain date, but it was a very successful event. And believe it or not, we already started planning for next year. The rec committee met yesterday with the borough administrator and our rec director to, kind of have a after action review of the event, what went well, what could have improved, what could be different next year, if anything. So we're ready to start planning for that. And also in that meeting, we discussed the upcoming Labor Day weekend art show, which is on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and some other stuff that hopefully we're going to be doing in the future. But it was a very nice meeting, and it's going to be good.
Thank you. Thank all the committee as well. Anything else from council?
I have a short report. Park lots number 1, 2, and 3, reconstruction of all 3 municipal lots will begin in September. Storm drains work will begin in the end of September, but will have minimal impact, and the parking lots will be usable during the weekends. Concrete work will begin in mid-October, and each lot will not be usable until the work is completed. K Street roadway improvements construction will start September 8th. It's around the corner. Pipe work, concrete, and base paving will occur in the fall and winter. Final pavement will occur in the spring to allow ample time for settlement. Phase 2 of the boardwalk reconstruction from Island Avenue to F Street will begin shortly after Labor Day. The same contractor that completed Phase 1 is also doing Phase 2. The construction office issued 120 total permits in July, totaling $40,274. 153 building permits and subcode inspections were performed, and 131 passed inspection. I do believe, Borough Administrator could correct me if I'm wrong, that 14th Avenue pump station county reimbursement, did we get that approval for that?
Yeah, they've committed to 50% of the cost.
50% will be reimbursed by the county.
Thank you, Marty. Anything else from council? I had 2 things. One, I wanted to add and supplement to the record because I didn't see him in time. We had another guest in our ceremony this evening earlier, one of the relatives of a former mayor of long ago, Francis P. Larkin, and that was our former chief of police, Murph Larkin, and he was here, a late arrival. I didn't see him. He hadn't RSVP'd, Jenna, but we welcome and thank him, and obviously he had donated many years of service to the community as the police chief and working his way up the ladder of police service for many years as well. So we thank him for coming. And I don't know if I was clear, and maybe we can correct our program, but we've fine-tuned our booklets with the Historical Society's help over the years in terms of recognizing former elected officials. And I know on the 100th anniversary booklet, there were 2 inadvertently missed, and one happened in the 125th, and unfortunately one inadvertently happened in this program, but we may be able to correct that and add that so we could have another souvenir program. And that official was Jay Delaney, who we apologize to. As I mentioned, when he came forward, he was a former councilman of Seaside Park before he became the administrator. The other announcement that I had, and it follows up on the dialogue that I had with Don earlier, and support really of ocean space and anything we can do to protect and preserve Barnegat Bay in particular. There's a joint program this Tuesday in this room, which is being sponsored by the Seaside Park Historical Society, the Mayor and Council of Seaside Park, and the Save Barnegat Bay organization. And they are going to be showing a film, and it's not for general release. It's only been shown once that I know of, and it's a historic film that goes back to the days when Save Barnegat Bay as an organization was formed, and there was also at that time another organization, the Ocean County Citizens for Clean Water, and both of those organizations dedicated themselves, and the one, Save Barnegat Bay, still is in full force and effect, working tirelessly to protect the bay and to support any and all measures, and that includes purchase of open property. They've been advocates along the bay, the marshes. They were instrumental in one in the bay off of Mantoloking and Bayhead several years back. And this film goes back to the time of their founding, when Lavalette and then Seaside Park were the two towns that joined with them in implementing a number of resolutions and actions where we stood up in against some public will, I can say that, and others who disagreed, and for whatever reason, the Sibagaga pipeline at that time had been leaking into Barnegat Bay, causing untold damage, environmental damage. Who knows if it still is causing environmental damage? In all likelihood it is. And then later that pipeline, which went into the ocean, and Seaside Park joined in the litigation, which eventually was successful. So our town can be proud to join with Lavalette, the two towns that stood up at that time for it. And this is a film when the Greenpeace divers were here, and what went on, and it's a lot of history. It's very interesting, and I saw it in Ortley Beach. They showed it once right near where the pipeline was at the First Aid there, and I know that the Historical Society is also going to be bringing some light refreshments. It starts at 6:30 this Tuesday night, right in this room, right in the building, and it should be very educational. There are a lot of good people at that organization, and the issue related to that, which I don't know what Steve's advice would have been at the time, but the mayor and council of Seaside Park, and we were a very diverse group from a lot of perspectives, but everybody in that governing body joined together, and we joined the Ocean County Citizens for Clean Water. And I remember Jay Delaney asking the attorney, Bill Herring Jr. at the time, can a mayor and council join a nonprofit organization? He said, I don't see a statute which prohibits it. So that was that was maybe a symbolic gesture, but this governing body did step up and do that. So there's a lot of history of Seaside Parks being in the forefront of efforts to preserve, protect the bay and the ocean, and that was one of them. The other issue that I had, and I don't even know, I didn't ask Steve in advance, but it came up. I talked to a resident just today, and as you know, Seaside Park passed and adopted its budget in accordance with the state guidelines. That was not the case with the budget of Berkeley Township. That budget was at least 3 months, if not more, late. I don't know what action, if any, the state took as a result of that. But where I'm going with it is the properties in what had been the former Seaside Park received their tax bills. And the property owners in our new neighbors, residents of Seaside Park, that was the former addresses at South Seaside Park, have not received tax bills. And I suspect at the appropriate time, when Berkeley Township does issue the tax bills, we're going to be asked on this governing body to adopt a resolution, and I suspect we'll readily adopt a resolution waiving the running of any automatic interest and a grace period which would be in effect. but it's just another example of the lack of due diligence and lack of action that was not taken by Berkeley Township, and it's caused a problem. That taxpayer had a dilemma, and I'm sure she was just one among many others, some of whom are here, what to do. They don't have their tax bills yet, and I don't have any idea or input from Berkeley when they're going to be issued. But I do know this, that the Borough of Seaside Park has filed 2 separate lawsuits. There was a pre-trial conference this week with regard to what we hope will be an expedited resolution of the one suit, and we filed deliberately what's called an order to show cause, asking the court for emergent action, and that action is just this. It's that Berkeley Township be directed to redirect all of the tax revenue for the local elementary school attributed to what had been South Seaside Park, and all of the tax revenue for the municipal portion of a bill immediately to Seaside Park. That happened this week, and I understand that there will be a follow-up hearing on that on August 28th. So there is no decision that has been made, so that, again, has been to the detriment of the poor residents. They have to sit there now, they don't even have their tax bills, and Seaside Park, most importantly, has been providing the services, and we're not getting revenue for the operating costs to pay for those services. It's absolutely unfair and it's wrong, and that's separate and distinct from any issues as to whether Berkeley Township owes us money or they contend we owe them money. That's a separate matter, and that will be litigated. That's a separate lawsuit. But this other one strikes me as absolutely outrageous. And I know every one of us up here feels the same, and we've been fighting for that from day one. And we have one precedent that's happened with Toms River and Lavalette. The 2 towns argued, fought in court as to what value, if any, and it ended up there was no value, but they had the 2 roads, and coming from Toms River to Lavalette, right from the start, they had an agreement between the 2 towns. It's carved out. All the tax revenue was immediately forwarded to Lavalette by Toms River, to the municipal portion of the bill, and yet they argued and litigated, and it went all the way up to the appellate court. That was separate, and they agreed to that. That's what 2 reasonable municipalities would do to avoid further unnecessary time, energy, council fees. We have one reasonable municipality, and the governing body is sitting right here. And the audience is sitting right here, and they know they're reasonable on this issue as well.
Is this retroactive back to April, the tax money?
Back to April 6th, yes. That's exactly what we're asking. That would, and it's mathematical. It's just something that could be calculated relatively straightforward. It's not controversial. Just run the numbers. And I gather, and we have at least one audience member here, I believe, attended the hearing for Berkeley Township's budget, and to compound it, how unbelievable this is, I understand that Berkeley Township, in adopting their budget, relied in part on the revenue stream wrongfully, which is Seaside Park, through our special counsel, has objected to that at the state level. That's my only update that I'm aware of. Unfortunately, it's not been heard on the merits, but it's in the courts, both suits. Anyone else on council have any? If not, we'll go into the audience. If there are any public comments, if anyone has them, if they give their name and address to the record. Good.
Go ahead.
Richard Martin, 812 North Bayview Avenue. First, I want to really thank the DPW. For the first storm we had, Bayview Avenue was a mess. The tidal water had washed in everything. DPW actually had 2 guys out, one with a pitchfork, the other with a shovel, because the county was invisible. And the garbage pail, shoveling up the seaweed so that traffic could get past without running over wood that might have been hidden in it or anything like that. So I give DPW, and I thank them very, very much. They did a really, really good job, above and beyond. For the second storm, same thing happened. The county did send over a street sweeper, a dump truck, and a front end loader. But they missed the first go round. That was my first thing. Second thing, always bayfront erosion is a big thing. Following up with what John said, I know a lot of people, myself included, come, but we don't have a solution. I have a solution. I don't know if anybody saw it. Down at Island Beach, A15, they've reconstructed the whole entire kayak ramp. They brought in, and in fact it's video you can see either through the Friends of Island Beach website or Island Beach itself. They filmed the whole thing. It's fascinating what they did. They filled in the bay. They got an $800,000 grant. I don't know who our grant writer is, but they got one. Oh, it's in this little booklet. And I know everybody hates being read to, but I'd love it on record. Their grant was from the U.S. Department of War, Readiness and Environmental Protection Integration Program, and it was approved by the NJDEP, no questions asked. It's a done deal. It's beautiful. Besides filling in the bay with rocks, and we saw dump trucks passing and always wondered where they're going. Now I know where they went. On top of that, they filled in with dirt. On top of that, they filled in with sand and seashells. They have groins going out into the bay, teed off and at an angle so the bay can't wash right into them. They've planted eelgrass. It's really very, very impressive. It's done. The DEP can't tell us how. They approved it. We're the same bay.
It's the Corps of Engineer problem.
Well, they didn't have that problem down there. I don't know why. And I don't know who our grant person is, but it was $800,000. If you have a chance, please go down and see it. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a fence, pull up, launch your kayak or a boat. You just can't park there. And oddly enough, the county do a great job. I always call it job security. The rocks that they put into the cages on H Street, which if none of you really walked around, it truly is a disgrace. There's the old bags from when they tried sandbagging. There's rocks strewn all over. It really is a mess. But the caged rocks, because they pulled out the curbing, are now mitigating themselves right up to the street. And they'll probably end up in the street. The wire has broken apart. It really looks terrible, and there's an easy solution right down at Island Beach State Park, and I'm sure that a ranger down there would love to show the Bayfront Committee people what was done, how they did it, and it wouldn't be in violation of sunshine laws since there's only 3 members. But it is a solution. It's been done. It's working down there. I'd love to see us use our money well and not just keep filling with really junk in the bay. Thank you.
Thank you, Gert.
Thanks, Gert.
Any other public comments? Yes, Mitch?
Mitch Copeland, 204 10th Avenue. This past weekend, I had the privilege of getting my niece and her 2 young children, one of whom is 15 months old, and we had the opportunity to walk on the boardwalk in the area where the boardwalk has been rebuilt. So the whole discussion tonight, and Marty's talking about the next stage, One thing I noticed, which has me quite concerned, is where we put the stainless steel railings up. The bottom rail is way above code. That my nephew literally went over, ran over to it, and started to slide right underneath. How do we get away with that? Way under code, the height of the horizontal rail.
What is the code? Do you know what the code is?
I believe it's 12 inches or less, maybe it's 8 inches. This is at least 18, if not 24 inches off the ground. So it's it is definitely, you need to check, but I'm more concerned with the next phase. If we made a mistake so far, let's not make it going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Any other? Kathy?
Yeah. Yeah, Kathy Fulcomer, 356 Roberts, yeah. I attended the Berkeley budget hearing. I figured, oh, this is a wonderful time to go over there and ask some questions. So I did. Before the meeting started, I was greeted by my former councilman, but not in a happy way. He says, "What's the matter with you? You lost?" But okay. And then I proceeded to ask a few questions. I asked if there was a separate fund that the money from South Seaside Park, our tax money, was going to. The answer to that was no. I noticed that Berkeley is having a 4.95% tax increase. So I asked whether that would be applied to the South Seaside Park residents as well. They said yes. So our taxes have gone up for Berkeley. Okay. Then I even asked I asked about when our tax bills would go out. And the chief financial officer is very nice, and he explained, no, that they would be late this year. So I don't know exactly when, but he did explain that to me. And when I was interrupted a few times by the councilman, you got 5 minutes. I know I got 5 minutes. No, that's under litigation. Oh, one thing they said that was under litigation was the idea that the Attorney General's office, when they mentioned, I did ask whether, like I asked here, I think at the last meeting, whether that was really just guidance or a directive, and I got, that's under litigation too. Okay. Then I brought up something that really made Mr. Burns very upset. Because I asked the following, because on May 7th, Resolution 207, Seaside Park passed the resolution to award, I wrote it down, suburban disposal for our solid waste and recycling. And that was May 7th. So then I said to Berkeley Council, why can't you just reimburse Seaside Park for that? Because it's got nothing to do with whatever went on before, and it was picked up, and of course the day that it was official was April 6th anyway. So I said, why can't you just pay that, something like that? I said, that would be an illustration. And that's when they, if your ears were burning on July 20th, or you felt a disturbance in the force, that was Mr. Burns going off on me like you wouldn't believe, saying, the Seaside Park Council, it's all their fault, blah, blah, blah. And he says, they shouldn't be doing this. And I said, I couldn't even get in a word in edgewise. And he was so angry that I figured I'd better stop. And then at the end, I just said to him, look, I said, Jim, well, I knew him, so I said, look, I'm just here. Oh, he said, I said, I'm not representing Seaside Park. I said, I'm just Kathy Fulcomer trying to find out what you guys are doing with my money. That's all I said. And he later didn't apologize to me, he apologized to the rest of the council for losing his temper and so forth. So really, it is kind of a, if you ever went over there, and I would suggest, South Seaside Park, they can go ask some more questions. The council then, so I really got just those few answers, but they got very upset when I talked about reimbursement. And then they went into executive session, and I waited around. The Berkeley people that were there about other items, you know, what was going on in the street and fixing the road and whatever else it was. They didn't ask, well, there were no, the budget part would be later after they got back from executive session. All the Berkeley residents left. Maybe some came back, but I waited about 45 minutes and I chatted with the police officer and the other member of the staff that was there, and then I decided to leave. So if you decide to go over, it's a 45-minute ride with traffic, and it's better just to smile at them and, you know, let them express themselves, but ask questions. So it was an interesting experience, and at least I did find out a few things.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Thank you.
Joanne? Shelley?
Shirley Cressel, 700 North Bayview Avenue. I have a question. At the marina, I was driving up K Street, and there's a whole lot of boats along that fence there. I mean, it looked like a junkyard. I mean, some of them have not been in the water, I'm sure, for a couple of years. Are they paying us for storage?
Yeah,
And all of them are accounted for, like there's none that
they
just
get
left
billed.
there?
They get billed, yeah.
Ooh. And with the Bay, I think we need another meeting. We've gone quite a while. My neighbors will say, so what's happened? I'm like, nothing I know. Can we possibly get a meeting together, even if you just say, this is where we stand, this is what we've learned so far, this is the holdup. Maybe get Congressman Smith here. I know he was at a meeting, it was either yesterday or today, up in La Valette, because he's available a lot of times. Just to kind of not so much move forward, but we need information. Because it's like we've been dumped and nobody seems to say much. I mean, who are we waiting for to approve the no eelgrass after we sent the pictures? You know, I think there's a lot of information that a lot of us would like to know, and not just me telling them what you tell me. There's a lot of people that would like to come, and I don't know if you meet with your committee or not, John, but you know, meet with them and set something up, and we'll all come out again, and at least we know there's something. You know, even if we're at a standstill, then just tell us all, you know, build the wall, because it's not going to happen yet. You know, I'd really appreciate it, and a lot of my neighbors would too, if you could try to set up something for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne?
Joanne Penn, 208 K Court. I'm speaking as a representative from Seaside Park to the Central Regional School Board. What I have to say is probably so minuscule at this point, but I'm proud of it. The Central Regional Board taxes were down for Seaside Park, a very, very small amount. But unfortunately, the local school board taxes were up. So I think it was a wash. But I wanted to say that publicly because our board has worked hard on the budget. We really have, and we tried to keep it. When you hear about all that's going on with a lot of the other school boards, we do work hard at it, and so the board needs to be complimented on that.
Can I, while you're still there, if it's okay, Mayor, you also talked about, I think another thing you should be proud of representing Seaside Park is trying to push for something to come out of that regionalization study.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to take credit, but you did represent us very well, I think, in that.
I did. The feasibility study that we talked about, we had meetings here, we had them over in April at the school auditorium. The feasibility study that was done to look at the K through 12 to become a part of Central Regional. It had pluses and minuses, but it was a very intense, well-developed feasibility study done by members that were from Rowan University. When was all said and done is that the only positive, not the only positive thing, but one of the positive things that came out of it was that there was that little tiny possibility for Seaside Park to get out of Central Regional. And that's been something that we've wanted to do for a long time because of the high taxes. But the Central Regional Board was against it, and it did come to a vote. It wasn't even going to be voted on. It was just going to be pushed aside, but I did push forward with it, and I'm going to get emotional. I did, at the last meeting, I did ask, and I presented a motion to accept the feasibility study, and nobody would even give me a second for it. So I knew it couldn't happen, but I was hoping that somebody would at least have the respect to give Seaside Park some means of self-respect in what was happening. And I couldn't even get a second, so it was not even brought to the board. It was not voted on. So thank you, Gina, for bringing that up.
I mean, I know it was a lot of work that went into that, and I had participated with you guys in some of the meetings early on, and it's unfortunate because, I mean, I think it had a lot of positives that could have happened for any districts that remained. I don't think it was taking away from any of those students or those municipalities, but it would have been a great benefit to Seaside Park had we had that option. But I appreciate that you at least, you know,
I do have to say,
tried.
What disappointed me was our own local school board voted against it in their own meetings, and I was kind of surprised at that, but I did go back and check in the minutes, and they did vote against it, so that surprised me.
I think that's because, well, I shouldn't say
I
that.
don't know what all the reasons were, but they had their own reasons for it, I guess, so.
And Seaside Heights and Island Heights didn't even give you a second.
No, nobody did.
That's the sad part.
Thank you,
Thank
Joanne.
you, Joanne.
And thank you very much for all your time on that board. It's much appreciated. Don?
Don Whiteman, 2000 Barnegat Avenue. I just have a question for you. And the reason why it propped up is we have the stormwater pumping station on 22nd Avenue from the state, and it's horrendous. They're working on it. Water is always being pumped out. I mean, I feel bad for the people on the bayfront. Now, this pumping station on 14th Avenue, will there be a building there? Any type of structure? Or is everything going to be underground?
Yeah, Marty just said, but it's on a structure, but not like the, it's not a pavilion.
It's not the pavilion things that you're
Okay.
familiar with.
It's more,
I feel bad for the people on Bayview Avenue because they'll be there 2 weeks straight, just
Yeah.
working on
same
it.
is true for L Street.
For all of them.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing, you may want to ask the people what they didn't do down in South Seaside Park. You're supposed to seal those pipes. They never sealed them. So now what happens is you get the groundwater seeping into this pipe. I know that for a fact. And I remember that people were saying, well, I can't say people, over in Berkeley, they were talking about how shampoo and soap and all gets into the groundwater. These pipes are getting that water in and then putting it into the bay. So just whoever the person putting the pipes in, see if they seal them or not. Because if we don't seal them, then you get groundwater going into the pipes. You don't want that, you just want when it rains, the rainwater to get rid of it. Thank
The
you.
pumps will only operate when there's water to be emptied out
Okay.
in the street.
Yeah, and you're aware of the mess that the state did with
Oh, yeah.
the pumping station.
Yeah, they're well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And yes, Jim?
Jim Fulcomer, 356 Roberts. As you know, the people of South Seaside Park, District Number 3, Seaside Park, we are happy to be in District 3, by the way, in Seaside Park, not something in Berkeley. But we continue to pay, since, I guess, April 6th, the higher taxes that are paid to Berkeley Township. naturally, we'd be happy to pay, much happier to pay the Seaside Park rate, but they're not collecting at the Seaside Park rate. Which raises a question, since there was a difference between the two rates, there is money over and above what we should be paying the Seaside Park. So if you are successful in court, is Berkeley Township going to send you a check and then send us a refund check for the difference? Or are they going to give you all the Berkeley taxes that were collected so that you can give us a refund? It's a question that should be addressed in your negotiations and your actions before the courts. Has there been a court date set for your efforts to get the tax money?
There's a conference on August 28th, but it's not a full hearing.
Oh, so there would be a full hearing later then?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd really like to go to that, if only to be entertained. Thank you very much for your good work.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none. Yeah, Bob?
Bobby Ring, 119 Surf Drive. I've reached the mayor's report, an update on all the activity on Berkeley. I'm sure most of the members of the council know what I'm about to say, but for the benefit of the other people here in the audience and those who might not be here tonight but will watch the meeting online later. I suspect that, well, I'll tell you what I know. Berkeley's budget's about $62 million. They're using $9 million of their surplus, plus all of the money they get that they're not deserving from South Seaside Park to balance their budget, leaving a surplus of only $675,000, which in my consultations with other municipal officials and their financial minds tell me that's woefully inadequate, and that that should be a number of approximately 20 to 25% of their budget, which would be $12 to $16 million, so they're a little shy on that. It's obvious that they see this opportunity to really zing Seaside Park for paying for all this stuff as their way of getting out of the very big jam they put themselves in. And in addition to counting on money that they're not entitled to for this year's budget, there's absolutely no mention whatsoever of any of the efforts they're undertaking now to start to prepare for not having that money in next year's budget. In fact, the article that was written about their budget in the Lavalette Seaside Shore Beat, or Seaside Lavalette Shore Beat, whatever it's called, indicated that the number one problem with their budget for this year was the fact that they only got $1 million in grants instead of $4 million in last year. So that $3 million deficit was going to put them in a bad spot. So for anyone who thinks that Berkeley's being nice about all this, no, they're not. I ken them to the person who's in a real bad personal financial condition that's looking to trip on a sidewalk somewhere so that they can sue their way out of their problem. And that's what's going on there. So thank you for updating us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Any other comments? Hearing none, unless anything else from the council, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion by Councilman Toth, second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call.
Councilmember Toth?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wolf?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And thank everyone for coming out this evening.
Yeah.